former state legislator and a member of the Ohio Arts Council, has appeared in over 20 films, including A Man Called Otto and White Boy Rick, both of which are being screened as part of Ohio Goes to the Movies. He's played the lead in The Last Shop on Walnut, filmed right here in Ohio and set for release later this year. Please welcome your host for the program, Mr. Peter Lawson Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, I am honored to be the master of ceremonies this afternoon and to proudly welcome you to the kickoff of Ohio Goes to the Movies. Now, today we gather to celebrate a story that begins in Ohio and continues in communities across the state. It's about how film has shaped who we are and how Ohio has helped shape film itself. Over the course of this afternoon's program, you're going to travel through time. You'll hear from voices who connect the dots between Ohio's origins in motion pictures to the way that movies are made, shared, and experienced today. You'll meet movie makers and leaders who are carrying that legacy forward, not in just one city, but across the entire state. This gathering also represents something else, the power of an idea. Today is Thomas Edison's 179th birthday. You could give him a hand. He's with us today. You can give him a hand. You look real good for 179. Looking great. Now, he was born right around the corner, and that is the reason why we are here in Milan, Ohio this afternoon. Now, this afternoon's screening of Edison's 1910 Frankenstein reminds us that long before special effects and surround sound, movies relied on something more powerful: the audience's willingness to lean in as a collective and to let the story unfold. You'll experience film the way audiences once did, through a silent classic where light, movement, and imagination did all the talking. So settle in, take pride in where you're from, and recognize what this moment represents: the celebration of a state that not only helped launch the movie industry, but that also, through the contributions of its many citizens, continues to sustain it and keep the art of storytelling through film alive. Ohio, let's go to the movies. Now, we've talked about where movies began and how they're made here today in Ohio. But films are merely pretty moving frames until the lights go down and the audience comes together. Our next speaker understands that moment better than anyone. She works every day to bring films into our communities, turning theaters into gathering places and moviegoing into a shared experience. Please welcome Ohio Goes to the Movies Program Director, Molly Kruzman.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here. Ohio Goes to the Movies started as a vision, first imagined in 2003 by Stephen George. And today, we bring that vision to life. Today, Ohio Goes to the Movies becomes a living program. I can hardly believe it. Unfolding in venues large and small, in theaters, in drive-ins, libraries, parks, and museums, and more, in every single one of our 88 counties. and everyone is free and open to the public. Today, we go from dream to reality. And I absolutely cannot wait for you to see what venues around the state have in store for you. What you're witnessing today is the result of vision, planning, partnership, and an extraordinary amount of work behind the scenes. With over 300 Ohio-centric movies being shown from now through the end of October, it takes an incredible team to make this happen. A team who brings together history, creativity, logistics, communications, and so much more. This endeavor has been the greatest honor of my life, and one I certainly have not done alone. Yeah, there's some names on the screen. If you know me, you know I'd like to thank every single solitary person who's done absolutely anything, including bringing me a bottle of water. But Steve and George told me we didn't have time for that. So just know, even if your name is not up on this screen, you have my deepest respect and thanks and gratitude for your help to make Ohio Goes to the Movies the success we know it will be. Ohio Goes to the Movies is happening across the state, and that is because of our valued venue partners, many of whom are here today and many of whom are also watching on the Ohio channel. What makes this initiative special is that every venue has chosen their own movie that has meaning to their local community. They've created pre-gatherings and post-audience participation Q&As that will live on in our memories long after the lights come up. The video you're about to see is something that is being shared in all our venues across the state, and I happen to adore it beyond words. Thank you, Jackie. It is meant to do one simple thing, and that is to remind people that movies belong to all of us, and that Ohio has led the way since the very beginning. Whether you're watching today in person or you see it later in a hometown theater weeks from now, this trailer is an invitation to gather, to reflect, and to celebrate Ohio and Ohioans. I invite you to take in as many of these screenings as you can, come back to our theaters, gather as a community, bring your family, bring your friends, and let the celebration that is Ohio Goes to the Movies begin. And now, here is our trailer. Thank you.
Thrillers, superheroes saving the day, holiday classics, courtroom dramas, baseball legends, and Oscar winners. What you may not know is that many of them were made right here in Ohio, or by Ohioans in front of or behind the cameras. From Air Force One to The Avengers. From the quiet hope of The Shawshank Redemption to the pure nostalgia of A Christmas Story. From the intensity of Silence of the Lambs and The Deer Hunter to the heart of Rain Man, Carol, and Little Man Tate. Ohio has been more than a backdrop. It's been a character. Our cities have doubled for New York, Washington, and Metropolis. Our ballparks set the stage for Major League, 8 Men Out, and The Kid from Cleveland. Our streets powered the action in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Draft Day, Dark Waters, and the Ides of March. And our neighborhoods still live in the memories of The Public, Miles Ahead, The Old Man and the Gun, A Rage in Harlem, Shirley, and The Bike Riders. For nearly a century, Ohio and Ohioans have helped shape the stories that shape us. And in 2026, we're celebrating that legacy. Ohio Goes to the Movies. Because great stories start in the heart of America.
Now, what you just saw is a reminder that Ohio Goes to the Movies isn't a single night or a single place. It's something designed to live out in the world, in communities all across the state. And efforts like this don't just happen spontaneously on their own. They take coordination, partnership, and a clear sense of purpose, especially when you're working at a statewide scale. The person who helps ensure that that kind of alignment, connecting vision to action across Ohio, is someone who has played a key role in shaping America 250 Ohio. Please welcome to the stage America 250 Ohio Chairman Doug Price.
Thank you very much, Peter, and hello, everybody. Today is a big event, a big and important part of something even much bigger, because across the nation we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States of America this July and this whole year. It's not a single day or a single event. It's happening all across the country as we memorialize what happened in July of 1776. And I like to celebrate a little bit in honor of our founding fathers and mothers with our three-corner hat. So you'll indulge me as we have a little bit of fun this year as well. Here in Ohio, it's a year-long experience happening across all 88 counties and in hundreds and hundreds of communities. Throughout 2026, Ohioans will see history, culture, creativity, and community come alive in ways that are accessible, inclusive, and local. Of course, one of our signature initiatives is Ohio Goes to the Movies, a statewide film celebration spanning nearly 250 days with more than 250 free screenings and events. Who knew that Ohio was there at the beginning, so central, so important, then, today, and into the future in the movies? We're especially grateful to our partners here in Milan, and some of them are here today. Township Trustee Greg Cumston, who's here, and the Milan Township Trustees. May we thank these local leaders. Thank you. Mayor Pam Crosby of this beautiful, charming Ohio village is here with members of the Village Council. Please thank them for their collaboration and cooperation and support. Together, they and we are showing what community looks like in every corner of Ohio. And a very special thanks to Cindy Rosbert and Robert Wheeler, who we're going to hear from the Edison Birthplace and Museum. Thank you, guys. And everywhere we go, we're excited to say thank you to Synovus Energy, Ohio 250's visionary sponsor for so much across the state and this celebration. Their general counsel is with us today, Dan Ude, so please thank Synovus. And wink with me a little bit. Today's event is made possible by the generous support by a private donor, and I know she's watching, but we're going to respect her wishes. Significant contribution. But she's watching, so let's please give a 250 Milan and Ohio thank you to our anonymous sponsor. Thank you, my dear. I'm so pleased and honored to co-chair, along with former Mayor of Columbus, Michael Coleman, this 29-member commission, all volunteers and great people, many from Northeast and North Central Ohio. Some are with us today. Would we thank the commissioners of the 250 Commission who are with us today? Thank you for your continued leadership and support. Well, what makes this celebration special is, as we've seen today, it's not top-down, it's bottom-up, it's community-driven all across the state. It's about honoring where we've been, but more important, it's about bringing people together statewide to imagine where we're going next, not only with the movies, but with the great state of Ohio. And we're glad each and every one of you are a part of it today. Thank you so much for being here.
And doesn't Doug wear that three-cornered hat, that tri-cornered hat? Well, They promised me that I could have one of those in exchange for emceeing this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that. Ohio Goes to the Movies was designed to move, to travel, to reach, and to meet people where they are. Instead of asking audience to come to one single location, this program delivers film into communities across the state, into classrooms, libraries, theaters, art spaces, and gathering places of all kinds throughout Ohio. In some towns, that might mean an historic Main Street theater. In others, it could be a library, a cultural center, a drive-in, or a museum opening its doors for a shared experience. And instead of someone far distant determining what movies will be shown in a given place, those residing in each county selected the films they wanted to screen, often with a local connection, the movie being shot there, or someone from the community having a prominent role in front of or behind the camera. From small towns to major cities, each screening is shaped by its community, making every event feel local and affect personal, while still being part of something statewide. That's Ohio Goes to the Movies. One program, hundreds of experiences, and a shared celebration taking place across all of our 88 counties. This celebration and the broader America 250 Ohio effort is possible because of the leadership that believes in convening people across the entire state. Our next guests have spent their lives in service to Ohio, supporting its communities, its culture, and its future. As governor, Mike DeWine has helped ensure that America 250 Ohio is not just a moment, but a meaningful statewide experience, one that reaches all 88 counties and reflects who we are as Ohioans. And First Lady Fran DeWine has been a consistent partner in that work, championing education, history, and civic engagement across the state. Please join me in welcoming the 70th governor of the 17th state admitted to the Union, Mike DeWine, and First Lady Fran DeWine. Good to see you again.
Peter is a tough act to follow, you know. Peter, you just need a little more enthusiasm there. He and Doug Price are both very, very tough to follow. This is a great kickoff. Thank you all for being here. Those of you who are watching, we appreciate that very, very much. We have a great spring and summer and fall ahead of us with over 250 locations showing movies. Some of those locations are just absolutely amazing places. One of the things that Fran and I have really enjoyed over the years is having the opportunity to go into old opera houses and theaters that have been restored, and we have so many of those across the state of Ohio. I just wonder if any other state has as many, because they've become really the center of the community and the place where people come. So very, very, very exciting. I want to really start off by thanking Steve George. Steve is back there. Steve, raise your hand. I know you're back there somewhere. When you're up here, it's hard to see anything. So literally for over 2 decades, Steve George has dreamed of Ohio Goes to the Movies. And he's thought about it, and when he saw what was happening with America 250, he came forward and said, this is something we really need to do. And so, Steve, thank you for the vision. We just appreciate it very, very much. There's always someone who has to start with that vision, and you certainly have had that vision, and we're very, very grateful. Doug Price and former Mayor Coleman, we thank them for chairing America 250. We appreciate the work that they are doing. Saw you guys on TV a few days ago. Did a great job. Let me also thank Molly. Molly is also someone who doesn't have much enthusiasm, but we're grateful for that. And the executive director, Todd, we appreciate what you do too. You're out there somewhere, executive director of America 250 in Ohio. Oh, it's really, really appreciated. I really want to do a call out also to Betty Weibel, and she has put together something that is absolutely amazing. I don't know if any other state has ever done this. It's never been done in Ohio. She has cataloged, literally, if you go through here, everybody that we can figure out or that she could figure out had any influence on movies, whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, influencers, on and on and on, music related, everything to do with movies in Ohio. So we just, Betty, thank you. Let's give her a hand. Just a great product. So in a moment we're going to hear, or a little more than a moment, I guess, but after we see the movie, we're going to have the opportunity to listen to a kind of a fireside chat with Peter. Peter is not only a great actor. The last movie we saw that he was in is A Man Called Otto. Great movie. A lot of fun to watch. Yeah, give him a hand. And he's also, though, been a member of the state legislature, so he kind of went off, got into the politics a little bit, but now he's got his head back on, so he's now he's focused on something much more productive. I'm sure he thinks. So we're just, so happy to have him, and also Beverly D'Angelo. I knew her dad, Gene. Among other things, first of all, he was a musician, but when I knew him, he headed up WBNS Channel 10 in Columbus, and he and I had a lot of conversations earlier on in my political career. We have had the opportunity to follow her for many years, and I did ask her. She didn't say yes, but she didn't say no. One of my favorite movies. You can do it. You can do it. Okay. Well, she in The Coal Miner's Daughter, which was a great movie, she played Patsy Cline, and she sang herself in the movie. So maybe if we can coax her, maybe she'll do a Patsy Cline when she's up here. But anyway, we'll see. But thank you for coming. We know you're very busy. We're very grateful. Happy birthday again to Thomas Edison. Amazing number. I saw the number recorded, and I couldn't believe it. It was reported like 1,200 different movies his company produced over a period of time, and early on, obviously, on the whole motion picture industry. So it's appropriate. It's appropriate we are here as we kick off Ohio Goes to the Movies. I'm going to conclude by letting Fran conclude. We all have our, I guess, movie stories, but I'm going to have her tell our movie story. Well, I just say that to me, there's nothing more impactful than to go into a movie theater and in the dark, and then the lights go up on that screen, and you're literally transported to someplace else, a different world. And with the music and the visuals, there's nothing that could be more emotional, nothing more impactful. Franklin Roosevelt, during the Great Depression, said for a nickel, people, the average man, the average woman could go into a movie theater and totally be transported somewhere else. And for an hour and a half, 2 hours, all the cares, all the things they were worried about would go away, and they would have that respite. They would have that opportunity to just really be inspired. So there's nothing to me better than being in a movie theater. There's only one thing that you could add on to that, and that is to be in a movie theater with someone you love. Our story. Oh.
So on the week Mike got his driver's license, the day he got his driver's license, he asked me out to a movie. And, we lived in Yellow Springs, Ohio. We have a wonderful little tiny theater there, the Little Art Theater. And so the movie that just happened to be playing that day was Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Not exactly a romantic movie. Anyway, I remember wearing a green dress. It was St. Patrick's Day, and I wore a green dress that I had made. It was, I remembered. And we enjoyed the movie. We remember where we sat. We enjoyed the movie. We held hands. And that's our story.
And let me just say, it didn't matter what the movie was. It didn't matter at all. Thank you all.
You can't leave yet. So, if you're single, take the one you love to the movies, and you can see what happens many, many decades later. Governor and First Lady DeWine, thank you for being with us this afternoon. There are 2,234 municipalities in the great state of Ohio, but you're here with us right now in Milan. Thank you for that. Yeah. And to mark this moment, and in appreciation of your support of this statewide celebration, Molly Kruzman is presenting you with a signed poster by Columbus-based artist Jake Rathkamp, commemorating the launch of Ohio Goes to the Movies. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right, get a picture? Sure. Oh, I think they want a picture. First Lady DeWine. Okay, you got it. Another hand, please, for Governor Mike DeWine and First Lady Fran DeWine. We've just heard about what this celebration means to the state of Ohio. Community, connection, and statewide pride. Now, we invite you to do a little time travel back to where this story truly originated. Before movies became an industry, before they became part of our shared culture, they began as experiments right here in Ohio. The person who helps tell that story every day as president of the Edison Birthplace Association and a great-great-grandnephew of Mr. Edison and a steward of one of the most important origin stories in film. And today, this gentleman is joined by none other than the inventor himself. Please welcome Robert Wheeler and Thomas Alva Edison.
Thank you all for coming. There's no better time for us to gather and celebrate film. As we mark Thomas Alva Edison's birthday today, we're also honoring the spirit of invention and curiosity that helped give rise to motion pictures and took place right here in Ohio. In places like Milan, where Edison's story begins, invention wasn't an abstract idea. It was personal. It was hands-on. It was about asking questions and seeing what might happen next. As part of the Connecticut Firelands, Milan was a major shipping port. In 1847, the year Edison's born, it was the second largest wheat shipping port in the world, second only to Odessa in Ukraine. A busy world for a young boy to explore. Those early experiments with light and motion helped shape how stories would eventually be told on screen, and they remind us that where the movies began is deeply connected to where they still belong. While the world knows him as the Wizard of Menlo Park, we know the truth. The age of invention didn't start in New Jersey. It started right here in Ohio, in a small brick home about 2 blocks from here. That home is the heart of what we do. Our mission is simple: to inspire curiosity, innovation, and lifelong learning by preserving and interpreting the early life of Thomas Edison and his birthplace through tours and educational programs. We are unique in the world of history. There are national parks and other museums dedicated to Edison, but we are one of a kind. We are the only site that maintains active involvement from the Edison family. Started by Edison's daughter Madeline and his wife Mina, we tell the family story and recognize how important a child's formative years are. Because in the end, it isn't just a story about what Edison invented. It's a story about where he came from and what that beginning made possible. And today, we don't just remember him, we invite him into the room.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Good afternoon, everyone. I will say this, I am so happy to be back in my hometown. I spent my whole life pursuing ideas. I found places like Milan here, where my own story began. But invention was never, ever a certainty. It was all about curiosity, about seeking questions that being willing to see what happened next. When we first began experimenting with moving images, there wasn't any rules. We just didn't have rules, we just had questions. What happens when light begins to move? What happens when stillness becomes motion? That imagination finds a new way to speak. You know, in those early days of motion pictures, it wasn't really about entertainment alone. They were experiments. There were ways to understand how people see, how people feel, and how stories might be told without any words. Each film was a trial. And each audience, just like you were all collaborators. Well, during that time, using my kinetic scope and kinetograph, I got to get that in here, my company helped bring those stories alive into the screen. I used light, shadow, and motion to explore what this new medium might become. And today, we mark my birthday. Yay! You know, I can't imagine a better way to celebrate my birthday than by sharing with you an experiment. You know, a little cake, that's fine with all of you, but sharing an experiment. So I want you to enjoy your cupcakes and your popcorn, and I invite you to not just enjoy this film, but I want you to kind of approach it like I would approach an invention. I want you to approach it with patience. I want you to approach it with curiosity and the willingness, and this is the tough part, the willingness to imagine. Now, I think you're going to find out that this movie, Frankenstein, is really a story about invention. It's about curiosity. It's about consequence. It's really about the wonder of bringing something new in this world. But in a way, as you shall see, it belongs perfectly in the early language of cinema. So, don't watch this movie as spectators, folks. I want you to watch it as partners with me in discovery. I want you to enjoy the movie. Thank you very much.
Mr. Edison, take a bow, please, for that. A bow. When you think about it, it's quite ironic that 115 years after the first Frankenstein production, what's up for an Oscar this year? Frankenstein, right? And I don't know about you, but I think Thomas Alva Edison's iteration stands the test of time, even against Guillermo del Toro's. So, yes. If Thomas Edison helped invent the movies, the people you're about to hear from work to make sure Ohio remains a vital part of the filmmaking ecosystem. Our next speakers understand what it takes to attract productions to Ohio, securing locations, local cast, crew, and vendors, and in the process, creating real film industry jobs for Ohioans. In other words, if Edison helped invent the movies, these leaders help make sure that they are still produced here. As the leaders of the Greater Cleveland Film Commission and Film Cincinnati, they've helped build the infrastructure that allows film to thrive in Ohio and across the state. Please welcome to the stage Bill Garvey and Kristen Schlottman.
I echo the governor's sentiments. You're a hard act to follow, Peter. Thank you. So you've just heard the story. The origin of this industry was built around Thomas Edison's invention. But Ohio wasn't done just yet. A few years later, just up the road, again, right here, a young Sam Warner was working at Cedar Point the summer of 1903. And he screened the Thomas Edison movie, The Great Train Robbery, which was the very first blockbuster tentpole movie of its time before the term was ever invented. The magic of that experience planted the seed that Sam took back to his brothers back in Youngstown, where they invented the concept of the modern motion picture studio and formed the Warner Brothers Company in 1904 in Niles, Ohio. So the motion picture industry's origin story, again, starts in Ohio. It's that foundation that endures today. Thanks to the tremendous support of Governor DeWine and the legislature, that legacy has turned into an economy of 300 projects over the last 17 years of the motion picture tax credit program, $1.5 billion in economic output, hundreds of small business vendors hired on each production, hundreds of crew employed, careers built that pay a minimum salary of $37.76 an hour, plus a pension and health insurance. But just as important to the Ohio economy as that production work is the value of film tourism, that legacy. Stories told in Ohio reach audiences far beyond our borders, from The Shawshank Redemption to Superman. These aren't just movies shooting here. They're stories that put Ohio on the national and global stage. Ohioans from all corners of the state have transformed this industry, both behind and in front of the camera, and playing a foundational role in the birth of one of our country's greatest cultural exports. So this is an Ohio invention, an Ohio industry, and we're building an Ohio community.
For 3 decades, Film Cincinnati has seen firsthand what this state is capable of. Ohio does not simply host productions, we deliver them. When filmmakers choose this state, they are choosing a community that knows how to make stories happen, a workforce that has earned national trust, and a level of professionalism that continues to grow in strength and in sophistication. Through this work, we have witnessed the economic impact of this industry in a deeply meaningful way. Every production brings jobs for Ohioans, revenue for small businesses, and long-term investment in local infrastructure. The impact reaches well beyond, my page is mixed up. This impact reaches well beyond the set, It strengthens the communities that make this work possible. You can see that influence in the artists and creators connected to this state, some who've joined us here today. Makeup artists Marcy King and Robert Kurtzman, costume dresser Harold Crawford, production designer Hannah Beekler, nominated for Sinners in this year's Oscars, and actors Peter Lawson-Jones and Beverly D'Angelo. Ohio's talent is felt across the country and around the world. Over the years, Film Cincinnati has worked to not only build the foundation that allows this industry to thrive, but we have strengthened partnerships, expanded the tools that support production, and advocated for the policies that keep Ohio competitive. That commitment has contributed to a stronger workforce, a broader production portfolio, and a reputation that now reaches well beyond the state. And that brings us to Ohio Goes to the Movies, a celebration of that full ecosystem, creation, collaboration, exhibition, and community all working together to strengthen our place in the international film landscape. This program honors our history. It curates the present with intention and supports the future of film in this state. That is why Ohio Goes to the Movie matters. And that is why we are just getting started, Ohio. Thank you.
Please, another hand for Bill and Christian and all that they're doing to bring film to the state of Ohio and to its citizens. You know, only a few actors become part of our movie memories, not because of just a single scene, but because their unforgettable work shows up again and again, creating countless moments we remember that live beyond the screen. Today's special guest is one of that elite group of actors. You'll recognize her from films that are part of Ohio Goes to the Movies screenings across the state, including National Lampoon's Vacation movie series, yes? And as the governor mentioned, one of his favorites, Coal Miner's Daughter. In fact, she has probably 200 or more film and TV credits. She's an Emmy and Golden Globe nominee, and she's won both the Country Music Association and the Theater World Awards. And her grandfather designed the Ohio State University Horseshoe Stadium. But most importantly for this occasion, she's also a proud Ohioan and a supporter of what Ohio Goes to the Movies is all about, celebrating film as something that connects us wherever we live across this great state. We're thrilled to spend a little time in conversation with her right here, right now. Please join me in welcoming Ohio's own Beverly D'Angelo.
Actor. Turn sideways.
Okay.
Now, see what I'm going to do? There.
Oh, thank you. Not everybody gets their coattails pulled by Beverly D'Angelo. I'm going to remember this moment. Well, Beverly, thanks so much for being here, obviously.
My pleasure.
You flew in just over the last day or so?
I just got here yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
And as soon as I got into the airport at Cleveland, I just went, oh, God, I'm home. Oh. I love our culture in this state. I was saying to our governor, I was saying to Mr. Devine that the thing that separates Buckeyes from, I think, every other place I've been is that there's something about our culture and the way that we're raised where our agenda is to have a good life and a good community and to take care of our families, as opposed to, greed and success based on being better than somebody else. And, it's in our air, it's in our water, and I treasure that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Once an Ohioan, once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. Yeah. Now, you've been a part of so many films that so many people feel like that they grew up with these motion pictures.
Well, I'm old enough, they probably did.
Well, you and I are in the same generation.
I'm older. It's okay. Same generation, though.
Same generation.
And also, your wife's mother went to the same college that my mom's went to.
Yeah.
So. And see what I mean?
Smith College, and my wife, Lisa Payne Jones. Yeah. Shout out to Lisa. Now, when you reflect on some of those movies now, what still surprises you about how people still connect to them and connect with them?
Well, it surprised me initially when I started to see it happen. But I understand why, and I talk about the vacation movies. I mean, American History X is also a film that really impacted a lot of people, but it's a different groups. I've made so many different movies that there are different audiences for different things. But this National Lampoon's Vacation franchise, particularly Christmas, the Christmas Vacation, it's really stayed with us, and I know that when we did the first Vacation, it was given to me and explained to me as a satire that was going to be for the audiences of Saturday Night Live and the people who had made National Lampoon's Animal House a hit, so college kids, that kind of thing. It was an R-rated film, and the surprise was that they discovered, Warner Brothers, by the way, I just learned that today, but it is a Warner Brothers franchise, so there's another circle for Buckeyes. But anyway, they found that the parents, even though it was R-rated, were taking the whole family. They were taking the kids. And instead of looking at it as a satire or a parody, everybody was watching the Griswolds and going, hey, that's me. That's my cousin Eddie. Oh, that's my Aunt Edna. So they were all identifying with it. That surprised me. But the sweetest thing about that was how many people over the years have really taken the Ellen Griswold character to heart because initially it wasn't hyped a lot. It was, Clark Griswold, it was like a supporting character. But what I've seen happen over the decades is that people have started to see this character of Ellen Griswold as being kind of the rock of the family and the one who sees everything but is steadfast about it. And that was based on my mother, because I grew up watching witnessing an incredible lifelong love story, like the Dwines, I think. I took, I was such a rebel. I left so early, but everything she told me was right. And one of the things she said is that in a marriage, did somebody laugh at that? She said that in a marriage, it doesn't matter who gives what. It's as long as it adds up to 100%. And I love that philosophy, and I think we could extend that to communities, families, in any way, that it's not about how much you're giving or not giving, as long as you support the wholeness of the 100% of delivering. So I incorporated that as kind of my little secret about Ellen Griswold, that Ellen always knew she was never going to leave him. And she would, ride the waves and all that kind of stuff. And I love that character is seen and heard. I love that people have embraced the Griswolds, and as I said, initially it was surprising to me because I didn't think that's not why I did it. But it's a lovely surprise, if it's a surprise at all.
So I guess Ellen Griswold was giving, 80%, 75, 80% in the relationship?
99.
A bit of a departure, but not much of one. You mentioned your mom. both of your parents were musicians. She played the violin and he played
Well,
the bass. How did that influence
you know,
you?
let me define that a little bit. My mother, speaking of your wife, your mother-in-law, my mother had a full 4-year violin scholarship. Howard Dwight Smith not only was the architect of OSU, but he designed, I think, 13 buildings that are part of OSU, the Oval, all that kind of stuff. And he was very much a man who believed that, you know, you should take what you learn and go back to the university. So she was really raised as a professor's daughter. And she was evidently a very good violinist, so she had that full violin scholarship. I like to say that my mother's family came over on the Mayflower, and my father's family, the D'Angelos, came over on a cattle boat, because I'm the proud granddaughter of an immigrant family, an Italian immigrant family. And my father went on the road when he was 16 years old with Tony Pastor, Cincinnati, another Buckeye. The lead singers of the Tony Pastor Orchestra were Rosemary Clooney, who I think was born in Kentucky, but Nick Clooney was from Cincinnati, or at least a news anchor in Cincinnati. And so he was on the road when he was 16, and he met my mother when he was 18, and my mother devoted herself to fulfilling this promise that she saw in that young man that she eloped to marry and got disowned for temporarily. Because Howard Dwight was a little bit askance at, like, who is this uneducated first-generation Italian? My father would go on to become so prominent in Columbus with his support of the arts, especially as Mr. DeWine mentioned. He became a broadcasting executive. And all of this had to do with my mother taking care of everything single-handedly at home, the 4 kids, the house. My mother never had a housekeeper, and they could have afforded it. But anyway, that was her pride in her position. There was nothing about, was she liberated or unliberated? No, it was her choice always. She was very proactive in that. Did I answer your question, or did I just give you a memoir? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just so happy to be here and be with my people, you know? I want you to know what happened to me.
Well, I know they influenced you musically, because you started your career as a singer and was with the group that later became the band.
No, and don't feel bad about this.
Okay.
Because I have not been a particularly public person. I haven't written a memoir. I haven't done scads of interviews. Things have been gleaned together. I've done a lot of publicity recently, because I was in 4 movies last year that are going to come out. Okay. But I don't have a publicist. I've never been a fame seeker. So I don't fault you for not knowing the clear story. Okay. But when I went to Canada, I immigrated to Canada, also had Italian relatives there, and I had discovered that I could sing, and I immigrated to Canada as a studio vocalist. And the biggest job that I had there was singing with Ronnie Hawkins, who was an Arkansas guy who'd come to Canada and discovered it as the promised land, because he introduced rock and roll to Canada, meaning he was a rockabilly, what they now call rockabilly, kind of a combo between rhythm and blues and country. And he brought Levon Helm, his first hawk, in Arkansas it was Ronnie Hawkins and the Blackhawks, but he brought only his drummer up from Arkansas to Canada and formed the Hawks anew with all Canadians, Robbie Robertson, Ricky Danko, Garth Hudson, etc. And they left him to go on the road with Bob Dylan. I hope everybody here is old enough to know what the heck I'm talking about. It used to be that I could, when I first came to Hollywood, I would drop these names. I go, oh yeah, now I have to explain who somebody was before they came somebody. But anyway, so Ronnie was, if nothing, not only a great showman, but a real connoisseur of talent. And so after the band left him after the Hawks left him and became the band, he put together always the greatest musicians in Toronto, or even from around Canada, had a number of bands, and I sang in one of them. And I joined him before this great documentary called The Latz Waltz came out about the band, but I went from Canada I ended up joining a repertory company with a show that was taken to Broadway, and when I got to New York, which was, that show opened in the beginning of '76, that documentary about the band had been on. So I had a lot of calling cards, and instead of being approached by, the recording industry, it was casting directors for film. So I'll tell you the truth, like 9 months from singing in a bar with Ronnie and for $100 a week, I was, starting to make hundreds of thousands of dollars acting. So thank you, Thomas Edison, for that, But yeah.
And you were at least kind of band adjacent, we might say, right?
100%, more than 6, 2 degrees.
To separation.
Yeah.
Knew
him, but yeah. And Levon, actually, I got him into, I thought I got him into, maybe somebody would tell a different story, but not Levon. I got the casting director on Coal Miner's Daughter to bring in Levon to be the coal miner. Levon Helm played Loretta Lynn's father in the film. And that was everything to do with, the fame that documentary had gotten him and my connections, yeah.
Well, it's good to see you looking after your friends.
More, it's closer than just oh yeah, I heard of them. Yeah.
Okay. Curious, looking back, how has being from Ohio shaped the way you see storytelling, filmmaking, and how has it perhaps even influenced your portrayal of certain characters?
Well, I told you about my mother's, influence on that one role that everybody seems to know. But did you know that Columbus, Ohio? I think I told you this earlier. I've been talking to so many people today. I can't even remember everybody's names. But it's a fact that the demographic in Columbus, Ohio, is to this day a reflection of the nationwide demographic, meaning X amount of people with this economic or religious or any kind of background parallels. So it's normal, okay? I was brought up with, what we embrace as our normal, which is that honest people are good people. You don't deal with bad people. That the golden rule is what we should follow. That we should take care of our families and be loyal, that we place honesty and loyalty and love above all. I feel that that's, our kind of cultural aspiration. I don't think any of us are brought up with the and here's what you do, stick it in, break it off, and just be better than everybody. We've got a lot of competitive sports in this state, you know that. But it's a different kind of thing. It's not about defeating somebody. It's about winning. It's not about success at all costs. It's about fulfillment. And that has influenced my perspective on my entire life. So as far as the film industry, it made it, I'll be honest, it's always been, and to this day, when I say that I've not, you won't see me on red carpets a lot and stuff, it's just not my thing, because I didn't ever really relate fully to the people that were in the corporate end of filmmaking. As far as storytelling, I became an actress acting in films because that Broadway show I told you about that catapulted me into the film industry, that was a musical version of Hamlet where there were no lines. It was kind of like a paparetta. So I sang my way into films. Hair was the big one that started me. Coal Miner's Daughter, sang my way into that. But it was really these great directors, Milos Forman. I got my Screen Actors Guild card from Millennium Annie Hall just before I did Hair. And Milos Forman was a brilliant director. Google him if you're as fanatic about filmmaking and all that as I am. But he brought me into that medium. And the thing about this medium is that, and even Stanislavski said that. Stanislavski, who was referred to by all the teachers of the big acting movement, which the method and all that kind of stuff. He said, and I found out this from someone who knew him when I shot a film in what was Yugoslavia. But Stanislavski himself said that his methods were not applicable as soon as films came into play, because you cannot lie in front of a camera. A film camera sees what the truth is. So that's why, we want to be so fully immersed in our character that we're not acting. We aren't pushing it. We're just in a state of being. And so I was brought into filmmaking with directors and casting directors who valued my authenticity and valued my trait of being centered in my own authenticity. So my approach to acting was less about mimicking or exploring a character through a distance, as opposed to finding out what resonated in what I was translating with what I had inside. I was never a careerist. I looked at acting as an opportunity for creativity. My whole everything I've done is because I've loved someone. I've lived out of the country because of relationships. I've made choices due to my, based on my availability for what I know film. You know what it means to work on a film. You can't do anything else. We're like that. And so when I had my kids, for example, I gave birth to twins at age 49. Don't even think about it. Do
not try this at home.
Yeah. But what I realized, and again, coming back to Ohio, Peter, what I realized was that I just was incapable of following any other credo than children need to have at least one parent, even if you're in two-family homes, at least one parent at all times that is emotionally and physically available. So the father of my kids was an actor. He was working a lot. And the one thing I did is I considered his work more important than mine. But I think it really kind of was. But anyway, so my devotion was to being there for my kids. So I really backed out of those kind of films that would take me out. I'm not even going to tell you the films I turned down, but those kind of films that would take me away from them physically and emotionally for months at a time. I just said no. I did television. I did Entourage, but again, different medium. Because this medium, and the thing that's so amazing about movies is it's like what you've heard our speakers say today. You go into this darkened place, and because of the enormity of the screen and the invitation to step into, we walk our journeys hand in hand with the behavior and time of the actors we see, and we come out at a different place. It hit me, just like Mrs. DeWine, when they said, that it didn't matter what movies they were going to watch. Am I talking too much? Can I share something?
Share. I mean, we could sit here and talk with you and ask
make it
questions
fast, but see if you
for
relate.
hours.
This is what happened to me. My Sundays growing up were, we go to First Community Church, which was the church that my grandfather, Howard Dwight Smith, had to do in designing. My mother's picture was on Burkhardt Chapel, her stained glass window. And then we'd either go to my grandma's house, Grandma D'Angelo's house, or we'd kind of be dispersed so my parents could have a free day, right? Well, guess where they took me? They always dropped me off with a quarter to see a double feature at a theater in Grandview. I wish I could remember the name, but I couldn't. But it was close to First Community Church. And there are two key things that happened to me that I recognized as this is magic, unlike any other thing. My dad ran a TV station. I watched TV. I watched movies on TV. Wasn't the same. But I went to this movie one afternoon. It was called The Peppermint Twist. And it was in the, 62, 63. I was a kid. And could have even been earlier. But anyway, it was the story of this band called Joey D and the Starlighters, who had originated the Peppermint Twist at the Peppermint Lounge. And we're watching this movie. Everybody's so into it that when they showed the sequence of these people going, oh, here's how you twist, everybody in the audience got up and we started twisting with the people we were watching. So I was really immersed in that, and I recognized it as something else. And when I went home, I was a little bit of a different person because I had had this experience with the characters on screen. So my mother knew I loved it, and she took me to see Ben-Hur then. And we went to watch Ben-Hur, riveted like this, touched, crying, everything. And when we came out, my mom said, don't you feel like it should be raining now? And I did, because I had been taken to another place. I'd been transported to another time. as though I myself had experienced it. And you can't get that on a screen that's this big at the foot of your bed. You can't even get that at like these private screening rooms that people have because you're so aware of all this other stuff. But when you walk into the darkness of this place and you're with someone you love, or even not, I go to movies on my own because I'm a fanatic and I like that big screen. Or with even you have community with the people that are watching it. I made a film called Violent Night. Good movie, fun, a real caper. David Harbour, if you like, he's and John Leguizamo. Anyway, we shot the film, and I remembered when we were doing it, there were a few times when the director would say, can you adjust that a little bit because it's supposed to be funny? And it really wasn't funny to the people on the set. But I knew that it would be funny once it was in context. I knew this character would be funny once when it was in the context of the whole film and in that theater with a big audience. Because my character was she was mean, and bump, bump, bump like that. Not like, ha, 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 like you would communicate as a comedic character or whatever. We got into the theater. Every single line landed with a huge laugh because there were 2,000 people there at the Grauman's Chinese, okay? Because there's something that happens, and this happens time and time again with filmmakers. They'll make a film, they'll watch it on a little screen for the edit and all that kind of stuff, and then they go and play it for a big audience on a big screen, and that's where they see what the movie is, because it's communication with the audience. The audience is dictating what our entertainment is. And when we show up for a film in a theater, we're all sending a message to the powers that be. This is what we want to see. They talk a lot about films now for older women, like they didn't consider that an audience. They didn't consider Puerto Rican or black audiences as having a financial impact. They find out it's true, and that's the message, to get across by going. Now, the great thing about Ohio Goes to the Movies is it's free, so you don't have to worry about that. But the reason it's free is to allow everybody to have that community experience. I'm telling you, it's really great. We don't want to lose it. It's a magical thing. It's not just like watching a story. It's more than storytelling. It's an immersive experience, so I'm crazy about it. I should say thank you to Molly.
Ohioans, have you not been both entertained and educated? You have watched Beverly D'Angelo write a love letter to filmmaking and to the cinematic experience.
And as actors, we want to tell you how much we appreciate that you've embraced it, because it's a thing, it's different. And even the way that they make it, it's different. You feel, even when you're shooting these things, you feel like you're in a special space. Everything else disappears. And in between cut and action, you're alive. And by the way, the other people we're actors. So we're at the very tail end of the producers, the grips, the crew, the cinematographer, the director. Everybody's got these dreams that are heaped on shoulders and shoulders and shoulders, until as an actor, you are the very last step when they stand you in front of the camera and you convey everything by saying the lines. So we're a cog in it. We're the most publicized cog. But the other thing that's great about Ohio Goes to the Movies is you're going to be watching, you'll be able, and all your friends, if everybody told 10 people, that'll get it done. But you're going to be able to see the product of the people who are the tools of filmmaking, the actors, the crew, the cinematographer, the directors. It's not just the actors, and that's part of what our program is.
Beverly D'Angelo.
Do I go? Oh. Do I stay here or do I? Oh no, they already clapped a million times. I don't need to do that again.
Beverly, thank you for sharing your time.
But fanaticism.
Your talent. Fanaticism for a good cause is not fanaticism. It's passion. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing, letting us in on a bit of your story and a bit of your journey. I mean, this has been an extraordinary moment for all of us.
Do you think I got in trouble with anybody for telling all that stuff?
Oh, I don't.
Okay.
What happens
I didn't do
here
anything
in
wrong.
Milan
Yeah.
stays in Milan. And over the airwaves where this is being
Okay.
conveyed.
I don't think I said anything bad.
No, nothing bad at all.
Yeah.
You know, you've reminded us why movies matter, not just for what we might happen to see on screen, but how they stay with us, the memories they create. Now, to send us off safely back to our homes across the state to experience Ohio Goes to the Movies and to see some of Beverly's extraordinary work, let me now welcome back to the stage Molly Kruzman. Molly.
My cousin. My cousin.
Your cousin.
My cousin.
Well, and I think you just met somebody too who might be your cousin, Joe Marinucci of the Cleveland International Film Festival.
Joe Marinucci's people are from Abruzzi, as are my Italian relatives.
Small world.
From just outside of Pescara, and mine were from Minnesota, which is a little bit east of that.
A little east of that. Okay, we're close.
Bev
Close
knows
cousins,
things.
almost
Bev
cousins.
knows things. So, today, we have been witness to something truly important. You've seen that Ohio's place in film history isn't a footnote, it's a foundation. From the very beginning, this state has helped shape how stories are told, how audiences gather, and how movies become part of our lives. Ellen. Ohio Goes to the Movies carries that legacy forward into our towns, our theaters, our libraries, and our shared spaces. Every one of these movies has a direct connection to Ohio. Great talent in front of and behind the camera. The hundreds of people it takes to bring a movie to life. From writers, directors, actors, to makeup artists, set designers, composers, to editors, marketers, and theater owners. We were born here, we have lived here, and we take great pride in being an Ohioan. We are not simply spectators to history. And as I like to say, we're looking back, but we're thinking forward. We are participating in what comes next. This is Ohio's moment. This is where movies began. This is where movies will continue. And this is where movie making will continue well into the future with all of the passion that we have in Ohio. And as my good friend, Mr. Governor DeWine likes to say, come on, Ohio, let's go to the movies!